Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. For a little while now, a few of you have been hitting me up asking for a review of the DMR platform you can see in my YouTube channel art above in the banner. But unfortunately, I don't feel like giving a review of that particular gun would be a fair assessment of what you guys can potentially purchase, because that particular gun came to me pre-upgraded prior to my purchase. It came from Daves Custom Airsoft here in the UK, and as such I've never actually owned the original Tokyo Marui setup, so a review would be negligible at best and really unrepresentative of what you guys can purchase out of the box. So what can I do with regard to the 417? Well, I can run through the 417 as a platform and give you my view of what it's like to use on a day-to-day basis and how it performs on the field from certain aspects, and really hopefully help you make an informed decision if you're considering purchasing one to use as your own DMR and potentially upgrade as I have done. So let's get the gun in question out. So here is the beast. As I say, started off life as a Tokyo Marui 417D next gen recoil, and then was torn to pieces by Daves Custom Airsoft, and fundamentally everything that could be replaced was. We have new barrel, hop up, bucking, gear set, rewired to Dean's, MOSFET, like I say, everything you can think of, if it could be done, has been done. And what I have here is probably, well, I'd like to think, one of the best performing DMRs on any airsoft field, you know, around the country, really. It's so let's run through the platform, because we can't really talk about this gun. This is, you know, as I say, unrepresentative of what you would get. So let's start tip to butt, go through the gun, and we can talk about how I like it or don't like it. So starting at the front, we have a 14mm counterclockwise thread. So plus point, you can run any sort of suppressor your heart desires. You'll have no trouble fitting that at all. The gun is predominantly metal throughout. The only sort of polymer you're going to find is in obviously the magazines, the pistol grip and the stock. Everything else is full metal and very, very weighty. So some of you might see that as a negative point, because it is a heavy gun. You are, after a full day of playing with this, going to feel like you've had a good workout, really. It's going to tell on your shoulders and that kind of thing, trying to aim down sights and what have you. So that weight, especially with the all-metal rail, is going to feel quite unbalanced, if you like. It feels like the barrel is always dragging you down slightly, and unless you're conscious of it, yeah, it's going to, over the course of the day, you're going to feel like you don't want to aim down sights with it without really tucking in and using some proper form. With regard to the handguard being all metal as well, because of that, all of these Picatinny rails are fairly sharp. So there's potential there for it to wear down and even tear gloves after a long period of time. To combat that, you could get some nice rail covers. I tend to just go with a lot of furniture, really, things like range finders and stuff like that, pec boxes, all add to the aesthetic. Coming back along the gun, I've actually installed a very cheap sort of Amazon special angled grip, purely because I like to try and counteract that weight of the gun. You try and keep everything fairly close in your stance and not have your arm extended. It, you know, just makes for a better feel when using it. So that might be something you guys consider. The polymer mags are superb. No trouble with feeding at all. Very, very nice, and look very authentic with those dummy rounds in them as well. So that's a plus point. You can also get high cap mags, which don't look as aesthetically nice, but hold a darn sight more in terms of ammo. Although you will have, you know, a set of maracas bouncing around in there, unfortunately. The receiver is, yeah, very nicely manufactured, no issues there. The controls are ambidextrous, as you can see, but although they have a very positive click to them in each position, I personally find the selector a little bit stiff. That's not a bad thing in terms of using it, because once it's in place you're not going to accidentally knock it during the game day, but yeah, a tiny little gripe. Not a positive or a negative at all, really. That's personal preference. Pistol grips are very comfortable, very grippy. That's a positive as well, especially with a gun of this weight. The stock is polymer. Not the most fanciful stock in the world, although very reminiscent of the real thing. One negative point would be, because it's all polymer, don't get tempted to use these sling mounts. This is a weighty gun. I have a feeling the sling would just tear through it after a while, and you're going to be left with your expensive gun on the deck. These come as standard with Tokyo Marui's sort of dual 8.4 built-in batteries. My advice would be to replace them, especially if you're upgrading anyway and you're going to put things like a MOSFET in it and what have you, and run bigger batteries. That would be one of my first things to think about. But yeah, very nice, multi-positional, does exactly what it says on the tin, if not in a particularly fanciful way, but as I say, looks very reminiscent of the one you'd find on the real 417. We have a plethora of rail space at the top, which, as you can see, sort of fits in nicely with the receiver. So there's absolutely zero wobble with this gun whatsoever. It is an absolute titan of a gun. You'll never get any wobble or noise from this thing, apart from the noise of the recoil system, which is hugely satisfying. It's certainly more powerful than the recoil systems you'll find from the other next-gen systems, such as the one on the Scar, or even its little brother, the 416. This thing really does recoil much nicer, much heavier. Probably not as heavy as something like a Bolt, or even my all-time favourite recoil system in the KWA Ronin, but yeah, it's really, really nice. You'll be hugely satisfied with it when you're using it. When you are upgrading and going to DMR, you will want to lock these controls to single fire only, for obvious legal reasons on the field. Oops, I've just ejected my mag slightly. It gives me a chance to show you the mag actually in its full entirety. Very, very nice. These do have a bolt stop system as well, so when you run out of ammo, the gun will stop firing. Yeah, what was I saying about the trigger? Yeah, it will go full auto, but mine's locked out at single fire only, which is something you'll probably want to do for legal reasons. That's about it really. So the plus points are its versatility and usability. The negative points, I would say, is probably all down to weight, and that's about it really. In terms of upgrades, as mine is, the sky's the limit. You can really take this thing as far as you want. This thing has no trouble outranging 95% of the sniper rifles on the field. It's hugely accurate. I don't know, I cannot testify to what the gun was like prior to these upgrades, but if it's something you're looking at doing and considering, there's no better platform, guys. There's really not. I absolutely love this thing to pieces. And I'd go as far as to say that if I'm visiting a new site ever and I don't know the terrain and I don't know what I'm in for, you know, or the type of engagements I'm going to have, this is the gun I bring with me as a default, because range is king, and you know, this is really, really good for that. Okay, that's been my walkthrough of the 417. As I say, it's not really a review, and I'm sorry for that, guys, but yeah, if it's been of any use to you at all in your potential purchase, then a like and a subscribe is always welcome, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.